let me just say, listen, okay, all right. When Brandon Rios fights, us hardcore boxing fans, we watch him fight. And what do we say? We say like, okay, all right, we know who Brandon Rios is. He's a pressure fighter. But he's also a punching bag. You feel me? So I can understand it's his first fight in 19 months. But it seems as though the same formula is still there and he's not a changed fighter. So I expected to see some improvement since he got knocked out by, of all people, Timothy Bradley. I'm not saying Timothy Bradley is not a good fighter, but Timothy Bradley is not no knockout puncher or none of that. So people was like, what? You got knocked out by Timothy Bradley? You should retire. So where he is now in his career, it's he's not with Top Rank anymore. So the options now are somewhat limitless as far as who he can fight politically. Because before, when he was with Top Rank, it was a big Cold War where Top Rank fighters weren't fighting Al Heyman fighters. You see what I'm saying? To whereas in now, I ask myself, okay, well now that he's fighting on Premier Boxing Champions, the Al Heyman platform, then he's likely going to be fighting at 147 because 154 is just slaughter for him. Can he beat a Lamont Peterson? Can he beat an Errol Spence? Can he beat a Danny Garcia? You know, it's people that I'm thinking like, well, if he's still talking about having issues like making weight and dropping, you know, 10, 15 pounds during fight week, then it's like, yo, bro, I mean, maybe it's just time to hang it up now. He said, you know, and he said that he's not with Robert Garcia anymore because of, you know, basically he wasn't listening. They became homies. You know, so he wasn't focused as he should have been in camp. You know, and this seemed like they had like a pretty relaxed, or maybe a little too much of a relaxed relationship anyway, just looking at it from the outside looking in. But now going forward, this Herrera guy was laying hands on him. Once again, I understand. First fight back, 19 months. I understand. But now I'm thinking, okay, I'm starting to see why the Victor Ortiz fight didn't happen in February. Remember they were saying the Victor Ortiz fight, the word was going around as that was going to happen in February? I still feel the fight's going to happen, but I'm asking myself, well, is one of them somewhat delusional? Because I'm thinking, okay, all right. Brandon Rios is accustomed to making a lot of money. Dude was making some good money with Top Rank. I'm talking about upwards to about $2 million a fight or so. Plus, then he got the Pacquiao payday. So, looking at Victor Ortiz, on paper, he made $750,000 in his last fight against Andre Berto. They both made $750K. Andre Berto won. So I'm thinking, if this fight was to go to negotiations, or was there a point in time where both of these sides, meaning Victor Ortiz and Brandon Rios, was negotiating, but that one of them one of them priced themselves out? Those are the type of questions that we need media members asking when they go to interview these fighters. Obviously, I didn't have anybody there. That's going to change in the future. But it's like, we need to know stuff like that, because I'm thinking, like, for both of those fighters, it is a crossroads, because if Brandon Rios loses to Victor Ortiz, Brandon Rios can still possibly fight and people be like, okay, all right, you know. But if Victor Ortiz loses, oh, he's done. He's done. Now, of course, politically, as I said, there's nothing really stopping the fight outside of the fighters. And if a network would pick it up, because they're both fighting on Al Heyman platforms. You see what I'm saying? And then, truth be told, Al Heyman and Bob Arum are working together now. So even if Rios was still a Top Rank, it can happen. So I'm just wondering, going forward, where does Brandon Rios go from here? I say, listen, truth be told, this is one of those years for Brandon Rios. How old is he? Brandon Rios is 30 years old, right? What is he? He just turned 30? This is one of those years where he needs to have a few more, he needs to have maybe at least 2 more fights like this. Because Brandon Rios is not the type of fighter that needs to have long layoffs. I can understand that, you know, he wants money and he wants to make some money and, you know, they want to capitalize, because, truth be told, Herrera was laying hands on him. So if you fight somebody else like that, you know, and you lose to that person on a PBC, on Fox Sports platform of all things, you know, then your marketability drops, you know, tremendously. Just like, you know, when Yurkis Gamboa lost to Castellanos, what was that, last month or so, on ESPN. He wasn't supposed to lose the dude. So if something like that was to happen to Rios, it's like, well, damn, you know. So I'm wondering, like what's the plan for Rios going forward? Is to keep him active? Because I say, if it was me, you know, if I was his manager, I'm like, okay, bro, let's try to get you 2 more fights like that this year. And then next year, the beginning of next year, we start focusing on the big fight. Or at least get you 1 more fight like that this year. Let's say, for example, it's what, June now? Get him another one in September. Even if it's untelevised, I don't give a fuck. You gotta improve, bro. You know, and get used to 147 again. You know, and then because he's a fat-looking 147. Rios didn't look like that at 147 before. Yo, he looked hard, like physically. He never looked like that at 147 before. I thought that it was like a catch weight of like 158 or some shit, the way he was all, you know, flabby looking. So, you know, I'm saying that, you know, like, I'm saying that, you know, I hope he doesn't rush it. Because I watched the fight twice back to back. You know, and I'm thinking like, okay, it's the first fight back in 19 months. I understand. But it's like at the same time, it's like, yo, bro. And then the dude he fought is really somewhat of an 140-pounder that's been taking fights at 147, you know, and above, you know, because obviously he's a journeyman. Herrera. Is that his name? Herrera? Yeah. And I remember, when you watch as many fights as I watched over the years, and anybody who works in media, you be remembering these names, and you be knowing these fighters because you've seen them fight other people before, but then when they fight somebody else later on, you be like, I know, didn't I see him fight before? And then you go look at their resume and like, oh yeah. I remember he fought, who was it? Celtic Ideen, Jorge Paz Jr. You know, so, and I'm thinking like, I'm trying to think back to like, well, did he give those dudes that problem he was giving Rios that night? See what I'm saying? So, but Rios did get the 7-round knockout, 7-round stoppage, body shot, but dude was laying some mean-ass bombs on him. So my question is, you know, let's just say a fight that can be made. Let's go look at some 147-pound fighters real quick. And looking at the 147-pound division, let's not look at the top-tier guys at the champions. Let's go to the mid-level-ish guys. You know, not mid-level, but guys that are not like in the top 4, I could say. You know, so honestly, can he beat, you know, Lamont Peterson? You know? Maybe he'll be able to give Adrian Broner some problems just off of activity. You know, and I'm talking about the guy we seen, the Brandon Rios we seen tonight, and the Brandon Rios we seen fight Timothy Bradley. You know, and I'm looking at the top, you know, I'm looking at the guys in 147-pound division, and I'm just wondering, like, yo, he's going to have some issues, yo. He's going to have some issues. Especially if he doesn't improve defensively. It's the same thing. No upper body movement. He getting hit with clean shots upstairs. Teacher Controversy. This is Teacher Controversy Live. We cover every single major fight live. I'll link to my social media right down below in the description box. Please subscribe.